earlier. It's a rainy day and you all want to go home and start your baking for Thanksgiving. So
I know I do.
I want to thank today our community impact team for hosting and sponsoring our breakfast. And we have Chief Mike Murphy with us today, who's going to explain to us a little bit about our team. Oh, this one?
I have to put the glasses on. I welcome everybody here today. I just want to give you guys a little bit of background on the Community Impact Team. I know a lot of you have probably heard the name, but I want to explain to you what actually we're all about. We have a few Community Impact Team members here today. Mary Prenning, who represents Elder Services. Amy Luckowitz, who represents Youth Services. Chief Bill Warnock, representing the Fire Department. We also have Bob Mosseri, Selectman in Town, and Kathy Willis, who's the Superintendent of the Schools. And Rita Mullen, I'm sorry, I could not forget the Mary North Reading. But essentially what we're doing is collaborate. And you would think that being town departments that we would already be doing that. And essentially we do, but we were all running our own tracks. And if we were, an issue or problem came to us, we would handle it one way, but Elder Services might be running into the same problem and doing their own thing. So what we're trying to do is combine and essentially try to collaborate all the information that we have and work together, pull in the same direction to try to resolve the underlying problems instead of just dealing with the symptoms all the time. Because when we deal with the symptoms, the problem's never going to go away. So we organized back in March of 2012, and since then we've accomplished a lot. We did receive a grant from the state. Representative Brad Jones and Senator Bruce Tarr helped us gain a $25,000 grant. And with that grant, we've held some seminars. We held a drug awareness seminar, a bullying seminar, and now we're continuing the outreach into our elder community as well. So what we plan on doing for the next year is coming up with areas where we can make you aware of some of the dangers that we're facing out there. And certainly today's presentation with the identity thefts, the scams that are out there, we want to make people aware and educate so that you could have the tools to combat this. Because law enforcement alone is not going to be able to do it. Essentially, a lot of what you're going to see today happens from overseas, and we don't have the capabilities of prosecuting many of these cases. But being a victim of this, if we can make it so you're not a victim, that's what our goal is going to be here today. Just a few things I wanted to bring up. I don't know if anybody's aware of the Crisis and Resource Guide. Our Social Service Action Team, and Mary was on that team, that come up with this guide. Essentially, it's all the numbers that you would need to know as a resident of this community, both North Reading and other numbers that you would need in case you needed help if there was a crisis or just resources in general. It's a good referral guide. So if you don't have any, Mary, we have some present. So if you don't have one of these, you can certainly take one before you leave today. And this presentation, Sergeant Incarnaccio is going to give you today. He had presented this before, and it was well received. But it's a lot of information. And that's why NORCAM's here today. This is going to be rebroadcast so that if you do miss anything today, don't worry, you'll be able to, if you do have television at home, cable, be able to see it again. And plus, we want to make sure that the rest of the community has an opportunity to view it. So with that, I'd just like to introduce Sergeant Incarnaccio and Chief. Our mission statement is up here, and you can read that, but essentially we're all working in the same direction to address your quality of life issues. And we will all be here afterwards. Certainly if anybody has any questions, you can ask them during the presentation. The members will be here as well. We'll stay here as long as you'd like, but I know you're all anxious to get going, so we'll take it from there.
Just a few housekeeping rules. If you have your cell phone on, please turn it off or put it on vibrate so folks at home can hear every part of the presentation. Thank you. I'll shut this down.
Good morning, everybody. Sergeant Tom Incarnaccio. I've been with the department for approximately 15 years. I grew up right down the street. I walked by this building every day on my way to school throughout my education in North Reading. back when kids still walked to school. So I know a lot of you. I haven't seen a lot of you in a while. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my second time up here delivering some of this information, which we think is very important. I spent 5 years in detectives before I went back to patrol as a sergeant, and I personally handled more than I would have liked to have handled crimes against our senior citizen population that are perpetrated by people who are very adept at trying to trick people and play on our desire to take care of our families and our insecurities. And like I said, they're professionals. They're as good as they get, and they're looking for us all the time. So today we have a group here. We have a good group, and this is going to benefit you, but we're also going to ask you guys to pay it forward, to reach out to your family members and your friends, to spread the word that you learned today, even if it's just a couple of different things, to let them know how they can protect themselves. So you guys will become agents of this community endeavor and help keep other people safe. So that's what our hope is here today. So what I'm going to go through in this presentation is I'm going to go over a little bit about identity theft, because it's a difficult concept to understand because it's relatively new to us in the last couple of decades. So I'm going to just go over that briefly, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the scams and frauds that are targeted specifically at our elders. So we're going to go over that so we'll be able to be better protected. Myself, I work days as a sergeant. Most of the time on the desk I take the phone calls, and I can't tell you how much the increase in frequency for the calls we're getting for these scams. Sometimes it's heartbreaking, people losing thousands of dollars, and it's happening on a daily basis. I took a call 2 days ago for a scam where a guy's computer was hacked into on the preface that his computer had a virus, and they had called him, they said they were Microsoft. They got into his computer, they compromised his identity, so we had to help him. Yesterday, as I was finishing the presentation, at the dispatch counter, a woman came in and she provided me, and I brought a copy of it today, I'll show you guys after, of a check she received for $3,800. The check looked real, okay, and I'll show it to you. They were trying to get her to send money back, and we'll go over that particular scam, but that's how frequent this is happening, that it's become a daily occurrence. One of the things I was talking about my guys with this morning was, I think the uptick in these amount of crimes happening is that your generation is now the first senior generation that's tech savvy. Most of you have cell phones, or you have access to computers or email. So now you've come right into their sites as new targets. The generations before wouldn't even go near a computer. So as we progress, as a society, and we depend on those computers to keep us independent and to help us stay in touch with our family members, we're going to become more susceptible to these. So again, we're going to ask you guys to learn some stuff that will protect you, pass it on to your friends and family members so it'll protect them as well. Okay, so when we get started, identity theft defined. Identity theft and identity fraud are terms used to refer to all types of crime in which someone wrongfully obtains and uses another person's personal data in some way that involves fraud, deception, typically for economic gain. Now, we do have situations where criminals will steal people's identities to hide their own identity, but for the majority, most of what we're seeing is people are stealing people's identifying information, their social security numbers, their dates of birth, all those things, in order to open up lines of credits, to commit fraud, those types of things. Okay, how does it happen? Your personal information can be stolen. It can be stolen through your mail. Okay, they change the incoming address of your mail and they then receive your mail. They'll go through your garbage for discarded bills, pre-approved offers, which we all get. And I'll tell you guys how you can stop those later on. Wallets and purses that can be stolen or lost. They'll obtain licenses, credit cards, and social security numbers. Transactions. Does anybody know what shoulder surfing is? Shoulder surfing, they'll come up behind you at a register when you're going to pay for something at your local Kmart or wherever you are, or Walmart, and they'll basically snap a photo of your license with their cell phone. And then they have your information. It's that easy. These people are professionals. So when you're at the counter and you're going to pay, keep in mind that there may be people looking at your information. Shield your body. Shield your body away from the people behind you so they can't see it. Okay? And that's just a little thing that can help keep you safe. Personal information can be given out. Okay? The term phish, okay, is to obtain information from phony but official-looking emails. How many people are using emails? Okay, a good number of you are, so this is going to be important information. They also have phone scams where they'll obtain your information through surveys and different types of contests. Okay, what happens to this information? Okay, they can use this information to drain your bank accounts, to open new bank accounts, to apply for loans or credit cards. Again, some people use it for criminal reason to avoid criminal charges, and they can sell it to other criminals. And that's what we see a lot is people will get this information either through legitimate sources or illegitimate sources, and then they pass that information on to other criminal enterprises that will then use it again. So you can be targeted for a scam one day, get the thing cleared up with the police, and then 6 months from now somebody else is coming after you because the information that started the first attack has now been pushed on to somebody else and they're using it. So the key is to learn, okay, and be prepared for those secondary contacts so we can stop those before they can do any damage. Okay, how to prevent it. Okay, minimize what you carry with you. Okay, do not carry your Social Security card with you. Only take out the credit cards that you need. Have your Social Security number removed from your driver's license when you renew your license. If your Social Security number is on your license, get it taken off. The state will assign you what's called an A number, which will be just a generic number that indicates who you are. There's no need to have it on there. Okay, so that's a good thing because you never know when that's going to become compromised. A lot of people request to see your license for identification, and now they have your Social Security number. That should be really kept locked down. Okay, again, how to prevent it. Shred those documents that you get. Bank statements, old tax forms, bills, credit card offers. If you don't have access to a shredder, you can rip them up. Just don't put them in the mail whole the way they were, because people can get a hold of those things and then they can apply for credit. It doesn't take much to get the information needed to apply. Do not give out personal information to anyone over the phone or the internet unless you initiated the contact. Again, if they reach out to you and they start asking you for personal information, be very reluctant or don't give it at all, okay, because it could be a scam. Okay, but if you call them, that's different. You may provide information based on what you feel comfortable with because you initiated the contact, so it's more reputable, less likely to be anything that's going to pose a threat. Again, treat your Social Security number as confidential. A lot of times people ask for your Social Security number when it's not necessary for them to have it. Okay? Inquire as to why they need it. See if the transaction or whatever process that you initiated can go through without it. Okay? That's your Social Security number. Okay? Review your bank statements and bills carefully. Okay? And again, that's just good sense to look at your bills and make sure you're not being charged for something that you didn't get. And that goes for all of us in society to look at, especially the cable bills and stuff like that. Review your credit report. At least once a year is a good idea if you can review it. Okay, you can get access to it free. If anybody has a problem accessing it, they can always stop by the station. Again, I'm a day sergeant. Feel free to ask for me. I'd be more than happy to help you, show you how you can do it. You can get that free once a year. Okay, and it makes sure you can see that nothing's happening with your personal information. No accounts have been opened up in the Bank of China. Anything like that that could leave you vulnerable to have to pay for later. Know when to expect your bills. And then contact the companies if anything is wrong about your statement or your bill. Address it right away. Don't put it off till the next month. If you see something on there that doesn't belong there, address it. Because they will continue to charge you, okay, if you do not step forward and dispute the bill. Okay, and again, how to prevent it. Use a locked mailbox if you can. Keep your personal documents at your home in a lockbox or a fire safe if you have access to one. Cancel any credit of any deceased family members. Okay, and then this is that last one is using secure websites to prevent unauthorized access to your computer. If it happens, if your identity is compromised, which we see a lot through phone calls, we tell people, contact us. Let us look into it and see what the level is. Let us get you the information that you need to now protect yourself, because you do have to take steps right away if your identity is compromised to prevent any further damage, okay? Because the more damage that they do, the longer it's going to take for you to undo. Most of the stuff that they can do to open accounts and to take money is going to be guaranteed by your banks and your credit cards. You're probably not going to lose money, but you won't get back the 100 hours that it takes you of phone calls and letters to get that repaired, to get your credit repaired. So, I mean, that nobody's going to pay you for. Okay, contact reporting agencies to request a fraud alert. Okay, file a police report. Again, coming to us is a huge benefit for you because we're going to show you exactly what you need to do. Okay, you can always contact the Registry of Motor Vehicles to make sure that someone didn't open a new license in your name. And believe it, it is happening. We have a large immigrant population in the state of Massachusetts. They are finding information that's being used, not only by the immigrant population, but by people who have always been who are trying to not be seen by law enforcement. They just get different licenses under different names. Okay, and there up top, you'll see the annualcreditreport.com. That is how we can access our free credit report once a year. Okay, also you have the opt-out number, okay, which is the 8885 opt-out. Okay, that stops those free credit card offers. You know, those credit card offers that come like once a week. Okay, you can stop it by calling that number and requesting to opt out. Okay, that's 8885 opt out. Okay, and that'll stop that. Again, the Attorney General Martha Copley's office, the Consumer Complaint and Information Hotline, they're fantastic. They deal with this all day. They have the information. You should report these things if you feel like you've been victimized. Okay, if anybody needs that number at the end, I can provide that to them for the opt-out and the annual credit report. Okay, this next section is frauds and scams that are targeting seniors. Okay, they run the gamut. If there's a way that they can get your money, they're going to get it. Okay, I'm going to just go over the more popular ones that we're seeing. Okay, and again, if you can take a little bit from each and just kind of remember it, you'll be able to pass along that information and help others. Okay, we have phishing scams. Okay, Nigerian scams, the grandparent scam, ransom scams, investment frauds, jury duty scams, auction scams, home repair scams, utility company scams, and charity scams. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot to keep track of, but there's some simple ways that if you stick with the information that we give you, will protect you from all of these. Okay? Has anybody heard of any of these scams? Heard of them on the news and the phishing? The phishing is big because there's so many people who have access to the internet. They're doing it just nonstop.
How come they do jury duty scams?
I'll go over that part. Yeah, it's interesting, but they get it to work. Money is the #1 reason frauds and scams are committed.
Right.
Criminals will use a variety of tactics to convince you of something they want you to believe. Phishing, the term describes how the criminal will obtain your personal information such as passwords, credit card information, and other personal information. How does phishing happen? The criminal throws out the line by unsolicited phone calls, an email alleging to be from a bank or a credit card company or any other business or government agency which you might do business with. So they're going to make themselves look like a reputable agency to try and get you to fork over your information, the personal information that they need to do the damage. Okay? So if you look at it this way, if I was a criminal and I'm going to send out an email to Ray to try and scam him and get his information, if I send it to him once, okay, and I got maybe a 20% chance that he's going to give me the information I want, that's not very good. But if I'm the bad guy and I send out that same email to 3,000 people, okay, that's a lot of people who are going to end up sending back their information. So that's how they do it, by mass emails. Excuse me. Then comes the nibble. The criminal will give you a storyline to see if you are interested. It's a bank security update. We have a problem with your account we need to fix. We've noticed some unusual activity on your account. So now you go into the mode where you think that you're protecting yourself, but they're luring you in to get your information. Okay? So remember, unsolicited phone calls, we have to be very careful. Then comes the catch. This is when the criminal will reel you in. The criminal will now try to get you to give up that information. Account information, passwords, personal information, dates of birth, addresses, that type of stuff. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple quick examples of a phishing example so you know what it looks like. Okay, these were sent through emails. And have you all heard of eBay? eBay, they sell things online, you can post things online, buy things. Well, a lot of people have eBay accounts now, and our senior population does as well. It's a great place to shop, you can get great bargains, great place to get Christmas shopping done, but they have your personal information because you gave it to them. So what the bad guy does is he sends out this email that looks like it's from eBay. Okay, and you'll see right here, okay, this different color right here that's called a hyperlink. They want you to click on that, and then they'll ask you to give your information because they're saying there's a problem with your account. So everybody wants to fix their problems and get it taken care of right away, but they're walking you right into a trap. Okay, and if you see right here, the arrow will indicate that's the link they want you to click on. Okay, and once you get there, you're getting into a danger zone. Okay, and here's the information. Now they're asking for your identification and your password. And then once they get in, they have access to your credit card numbers, your home addresses. Okay? Here's another example. Okay, who does bank business with Bank of America? Okay? So do I. Okay, and we all complain about our bank fees that we have to pay anyways, but we don't need somebody else taking our money saying they're our bank. Okay? They make this email look like it came from Bank of America. If I was on my computer, I could replicate that in about 30 seconds by cut and copying the different images and putting it in there and making it look official. Okay? They want you to continue on. You click on this link, again, with your computer. It sends you to the next page. Okay, again, looks like Bank of America. And next thing you know, you're giving them your information for them to hack into your accounts. Okay? The next time you go to deposit a check or go to the bank and you find out that your bank account has been drained. Okay? Again, these things, I don't want to say that these things aren't insured. They're federally insured by the government, these banks, but it's still, it's a nightmare that none of us want to have to deal with if we can avoid it. Okay, insurance phishing. June 8, 2012, con artist called an elderly couple saying they're calling about their health insurance. Because the elderly victims did not want anything to happen to their health insurance, they end up giving the bank their bank name and the account number. Again, they prey on where our vulnerabilities are. Okay, we are concerned as Americans about our health care coverage, especially when we get into our senior years. It's very important to us that we have nonstop coverage, we have our prescription medications. To think that we might lose that because something was wrong, okay, we're going to be what they want us to be, compliant. Okay, so we have to be careful. They're going to find those little things that are going to get you to give up the information. Okay, next one, the IRS. Okay, an IRS phishing email. This happens year-round, and they're trying to get your personal information. Does the IRS even have your email? They probably do not. Okay, so when you get an email from the IRS and it looks like this, IRS tax refund notice, most of us would open it. You know, because a tax refund for most of us has become an important part of our lives. And if we see that in there, we want to see what that information is. Okay, in this particular email, again, they're saying that you're entitled to extra money from the government. All you have to do is click on this, and they're basically in this email saying, we're going to be contacting you for more information. So this is kind of like the precursor to the scam artists coming after you. So they've kind of softened you up a little because you think you may be able to get some money on a tax refund because of your mortgage. And then all of a sudden they call you up, you're like, oh, this is the same guy from the IRS who sent me the email. Next thing you know, you tell this individual your information, and he's off and running. Okay? What we look for in emails, anything that we didn't ask for. Emails that are from strangers. Emails that ask for personal information. Someone wanting to give you money or somebody asking for money. Asking that money may be wired. And we're going to get into that because that's very important. Spelling and grammatical errors. Again, the letter I took yesterday, and when I show it to you, you probably chuckle at some of the spelling errors that they had in there. That they couldn't, spell regular common words that anybody who has an American education would notice right away. Okay, the phishing do's and don'ts. Don't give personal information over the phone to someone that called you. Don't respond to unsolicited emails. Don't click on links, those links that I showed you, the different colors on emails. Don't download any attachments from unsolicited emails. They may contain viruses that allow people access to your computer. Okay, do delete unsolicited emails. Hang up on unsolicited phone calls. Take down the information, case reference number, call the company back. Look up the phone number yourself, make sure it's legitimate, and don't trust your caller ID. Okay, they can change their numbers to look like the number you want it to be on your caller ID. You can't trust it anymore, it's too easy to fake out. Have we all heard of the Nigerian scams? Okay. This type of scam is typically looking for money, not your personal information. They usually start with either an email, a phone call, or a letter. They claim you have won, awarded, or inherited a large sum of money. You would be amazed at how often this works. Okay, these people sit in little computer cafes in Nigeria and send these out by the thousand. And I saw a show the other night on, I think it was 2020, and these people, the criminals that are working, they're called the 418s over there in Nigeria, they actually laugh and tell stories about the Americans because they were so easily preyed upon with these scams. Okay, could look like this. It starts with an email. Please contact such and such a person. Okay, you get the email. It's telling you that there's a multi-million-dollar business deal and you're part of it and you can have money from it. Okay, you need to contact them without any delay. Okay? And then you'll see right here, you'll see the city. It's a Daytona Ave, Holly House City in Abuja. And then you have to ask yourself, this question when you see it. Where is Abuja? Okay, because I have never heard of any place in the United States about where is Abuja. I can tell you where it is because I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Nigeria. Okay, and if you see that, okay, you know it's a scam. Okay, there's going to be spelling errors, there's going to be things that stand out right away. Read these things carefully when you see them. Everybody here would be smart enough to pick these things off if you just take the time to read them slowly. Don't go for the hook, the easy money. Okay, I'm going to show a quick video. Okay.
As part of our On Your Side philosophy, we warn you about scams and ripoffs. And tonight, On Your Side investigator Anna Song has a story about the ultimate scam that built a local woman out of $400,000.
They have 1,180 emails.
It started, as it almost always does, with an email.
I'm here as an official assignment with President Bush and the FBI Director, Mr. Robert Mueller.
Promising $20 million. The money supposedly left behind by a relative of Janelle Spears, with whom the family had lost contact over the years.
So that's what got me to believe it.
Janella didn't know how the sender knew the name of J.B. Spears, but her curiosity was piqued.
They said, this is your account number. You have $150,000 that you can get out of this account if you pay me $100. Okay, so why wouldn't you send over $100?
She received phony certificates from the Bank of Nigeria promising irrevocable payment guarantees of $12 million. A letter from a UN spokesman on UN letterhead, no less, saying $26.6 million would be transferred within 5 minutes into her Washington Mutual account, but only if she paid the $8,300 fee. Note the misspelling of minutes.
It may interest you to know.
When Spears actually began to doubt the validity of the scam, she promptly received letters from the President of Nigeria, FBI Director Robert Mueller, and President George W. Bush. Robert Mueller writes, the transaction you have with the Central Bank of Nigeria, or any bank within Nigeria, is nothing but legal. President Bush tells her an even more elaborate story about a terrorist apprehended at the Heathrow Airport in England with funds valued at $12 million as he attempted to launder funds to Iran for capital T terrorist activities. The messages, by the way, are from email addresses like usawhitehouse@myway.com and FBI_investigates2007
I said, how come you're using this non-government address? Oh, because our computer has a worm.
Right out of the gate, the scammers got $20,000 from Spears. Over 2.5 years, they bilked her for amounts ranging as low as $50 and as high as $14,000. It all added up to $400,000.
You kept believing them because they kept telling you that this was the last step.
End. Right, this is the last step. This is going to be the end.
Spears had never thought of herself as foolish. She is a registered nurse. She teaches CPR, and she's a reverend. With a husband whose deaf, Spears is fluent in sign language and has officiated weddings for deaf couples. The scammers exploited her compassion.
This is the guy, Dr. Andy, who was the doctor of the lady who had cancer.
And Spears admits she became obsessed with somehow making it right.
You are not a sucker.
No.
In a typical sense.
So I'm not a typical sucker, and you're sitting there going, how can I fall for something like that? Because, like I said, they all have these promises saying that they are going to come through and that they're sorry that this has happened to me and this is how it's going to get fixed.
Is it greed that blinded her?
Yeah, I think it was. Just the idea that she was going to be, a multi-millionaire.
This undercover investigator with the Oregon Department of Justice who worked the case says Spears is the worst case he's seen. Often, he says, victims become obsessed, ignoring all the warning signs.
There was a lot of people that told her. The FBI agents told her. The local authorities in Sweet Home told her. I told her. The bank investigators told her. Everybody told her. And she just kept doing it.
Spears has a husband who can't even hide his anger. He tells us he gave up a long time ago trying to convince his wife this was a scam. She spent 2 years' worth of her own salary, borrowed against their home and car, which had been paid off, and drained his retirement fund.
He's not comfortable because the retirement that he was dreaming of cruising and going around seeing America, is pretty well gone for him right now.
As Spears tries to pick up the pieces of what's left,
Wow, I got $3.
she's sharing her story in the hope she can help someone else avoid the same mistake.
The hope is that they're not going to fall as hard as I fell.
Spears estimates it will take her at least 3 or 4 years to dig out of the debt that she created with this Nigerian scam. For more information on how to avoid becoming a victim of a scam, head to the Inside K2 section.
Okay, so they you see it. Sometimes it gets hard because they get dug in. And again, once they get a hook in, they know what works with you as an individual. They're going to exploit it. I have people come in. They're former college professors. They're attorneys. They're sharp people, and they're getting these people. They're sending their money, and it's like I said, it can be heartbreaking, like I'm sure it is for that family. Okay, have we heard of the grandparent scam? Yes. You're going to get a phone call from someone claiming to be your grandchild. The grandchild claims to be arrested in the hospital, that their car broke down, and to be honest, there's endless scenarios that they can use to indicate that a loved one is in trouble. The caller is going to indicate that they need money immediately, and not to call the parents. Again, this is to prevent anybody from realizing it's a scam. Sometimes they use the right names, and other times they may just say this is your grandson, and the potential victim will provide the correct name. So again, when you're very adept at getting people to give you information, it's fairly easy for them to get you to give up that name that they're trying to get. It's kind of like a fortune teller. They have information, they're looking to get the information, you end up giving it to them unknowingly. Okay, and I show a quick video of a grandparent scam. Hopefully this one comes up easier, which it did, thankfully.
evening, everyone. It's a warning worth repeating.
Unsuspecting grandparents targets of a scam. News Channel 8's Angie Hunt has the details from our Ames Live link.
Well, Stacey, it's not new, but it still works. And for a moment, it almost caught a Webster City grandmother off guard when a man called, claiming to be her grandson in desperate need of help. Joan Olson was about to walk out the door when she got the call. In a rush, she picked up the phone without even looking at the caller ID.
He said, Grandma, I really hate to make this call, but he said, I got into really bad trouble last night.
Olson says the person on the other end of the line was so convincing, she thought it was her grandson.
For the first half a minute or so, it did sound like him.
And according to the Iowa Attorney General's office, that's exactly why they continue to get calls about the scam, often on a weekly basis. It works because the caller often can get just enough personal information that, coupled with the urgency of the situation, convinces people to wire money to help a loved one. Olson never sent a dime. As the man was making a plea for help, she was texting her grandson, asking him to call her immediately.
Oh, I couldn't text Chris fast enough, and luckily he did call right back.
Chris told his grandmother he wasn't in trouble, as the caller had claimed. He was safe and sound at college. Olson says there were several red flags during the conversation that raised her suspicions, but the call still had her worried.
Even if you know it's a scam, it's still in the back of your head. You want to make sure they're okay.
And for that reason, Olson says she can understand why the scam works.
We would do absolutely anything for our grandchildren, and so they hit the soft spots.
And Olson says even though she had heard of this scam previously, she still had that moment of panic when she got that phone call. And so she's hoping by spreading the word, it will help others from being caught off guard as well. Now, according to the Attorney General's office, there are still several people out there who call their office who...
Okay, so there you see it, and that's what we've been talking about. They go after what's important to us. I mean, who wouldn't do something for their grandchild? Or their child, or another family member. You would go out of your way, and you might not even recognize the small details, like not hearing the name, like the voice sounds a little bit off. You immediately go into that parenting mode where you want to protect that person, you want to help that person no matter what. So like I said, these people are really ruthless. They're going after what's most important to us. Okay, wiring money, and I'm going to go over this quickly, but it's important because most of the time when I see seniors losing a lot of money, it's in the type of scams in which you wire money. Okay, if somebody asks you to wire money, no matter what the reason, that's trouble. Okay, I mean, I don't know how many of you have wired money throughout your life, but it's something that most of us don't do, but they specifically ask for it because it's hard to trace. They'll have you go to a location that performs a service, supermarket or convenience store, provide your name and the person who's getting the money, the transaction number, the secret question. That receiver can go to any location. So if the guy says, I'm in Middleton and he's been in a crash and we need $1,200 and you send it Western Union, okay, he could be in Aruba or Aruja and he can collect that money. So we need to be careful when we wire it. Okay, again, it could be anywhere in the world where that money is picked up. And once you wire that money, it's gone. It's not coming back. It's not like a bank where it's going to be insured. Once you take that money out of your account and you send it, it's not coming back. And that's very unfortunate because, sometimes by the time a family member can stop the damage or we can stop the damage and we find out about it, people could be down $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 of their hard-earned savings. Okay, again, Western Union, it's the most recognized brand. They're all over there. They say for every McDonald's, there's 15 Western Unions. So, I mean, these people are all over the place. Okay. The next one, the ransom scam. Has anyone heard of this scam? This is new. Well, I shouldn't say it's new, but it's increased in frequency here. In fact, as a day sergeant, I've taken 3 calls in the last 6 weeks reporting a ransom scam. Not only that, but we get regional intelligence from other police departments throughout the state and throughout New England, and they're all reporting the same thing, that this ransom scam is running wild. Okay? What happens is the scammer will call the victim and report that one of their loved ones a grandson, a sister, whatever information they can find out about you that they can link it to you, has been in an accident and now they're being held hostage. The callers will tell the victims not to contact the police or their loved ones will be hurt. I had one woman tell me that they said they were going to shoot her daughter if she went to the police. And you can imagine this woman who was hysterical until she found out that her daughter was in fact okay. The callers will then request that money be wired to a specific location. Okay? Again, what do you do if you receive one of these types of phone calls? Okay? We're going to suggest you hang up the phone, okay, as quickly as possible. Okay, if that doesn't work, you can try this one. This is the line I like to use with those people. Hey, tell me if this sounds like a phone hanging up. And then you just hang it up. That's a little lead card for you guys. All right, what else should you do? After hanging up the phone, contact us, contact the police. Let us know that somebody tried to target you. We can then give you the steps that you need to protect yourself. Okay, we'll also have a record of it. Okay, contact whoever the alleged kidnap victim was, your daughter, your uncle, your brother. Make sure they're okay so you can calm down a little bit. Do not engage the callers in any further conversation. Do not try and trick them into meeting at a specific location. Do not put yourself in danger. Okay, again, go through us. How do they find you? People will often ask, how do they find all this information? How do they know your name? Your name and phone number in a number of public databases, and one of those common free databases is White Pages. Okay, whitepages.com, they have all your information. Every time you make a purchase, all these different companies that we deal with, sometimes government agencies, that information can go out and get shared with these giant databases and then sold to different companies and marketers. So we're all out there whether we like it or not. Mining the internet. Scammers will use social networking sites like Facebook and MySpace to find information on you. They'll also use it to develop their targeted victims. And I can honestly say it's amazing the information that can be obtained in very little time. Scammers, again, are very convincing and use our desire to protect our family members against us. As a detective, we used to conduct interviews on a regular basis, and when we did, we would always research the people that we were going to be interviewing if they were involved in crime, to know more about them by using the internet. It was nothing that wasn't available to any member of the public. And when you have that information, people will be amazed at how you know what you know, but it's out there for anybody who's computer savvy.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Okay, this is a new one, the I need help scam. This happens when a con man takes over your email account. So if you have an email account, they'll send out to all your contacts, okay, that you're in trouble and you need help. And they'll represent themselves as you trying to get money. Okay, and it says, here's an example that happened to a friend of mine, and this actually happened. I got it from my best friend's wife. And it wasn't this particular email, but it was the same thing, that they were in trouble overseas on a vacation and they needed $1,800 immediately. And I don't know why the denomination is usually right around 1,800. It must have something to do with the wire transfer, but they're looking for that quick hit of money. In this particular one, the person said, we got in trouble over here, we don't have our money, and they won't let us leave the hotel until we pay them $1,850. I'll pay you as soon as I get home. And they'll sign it as the person that, they'll sign it as you. So it's a scam if you get one of those emails. Okay, and I'm not going to get into expanding the headers of emails, but for those of you who get a lot, you can usually find out where those emails came to by expanding the headers on those. Okay, investment scams. Okay, a con man will contact you with an incredible offer. Okay, offer you 100 to 300% annual return on your money, on your investment. Okay, some of these can be very tough to detect. We all remember Bernie Madoff and the billions of dollars that he stole from people who trusted him. Okay, so it can happen at any level. Do any of us have billions of dollars to invest or millions? I know I don't, but I know that I could easily fall to the same thing if I wasn't prepared. Okay, so what we suggest, again, annual returns of 300% do not exist. If it appears too good to be true, it is. Discuss investments with someone you can trust before making a decision. Legitimate companies will not press you to make a decision immediately. Okay, real quick on charity scams. Okay, many legitimate charities out there. There are also many that are not legitimate. Okay, some charities are non-profit, others are for profit. Okay, have you all gotten calls from people soliciting money for charity? Yeah, and it happens all the time, and we take a lot of calls. Sometimes the police association will run fundraisers, and we'll get a lot of calls, and we tell people to be very leery. Call us if you're concerned. Make sure that they're reputable charities. You should ask them what percentage of your donation is going to actually go to the charity, because some of the fundraising companies out there aren't completely scrupulous, and you could have problems. Okay, we see this when disasters spring up, like Katrina. Okay, they may ask for, if you ask them for a name, address, phone number of the charity, you can better check them out, make sure they're legitimate. Ask if they are registered and get a registration number. Okay, the Attorney General's office, the Better Business Bureau, Google, if you put it into Google, these will all tell you if these are legitimate charities. Okay, don't give cash to charities. Write a check to the charity, not to the individuals picking it up. If the guy says, I'm Fred Smith, I'm collecting for such and such foundation, just make the check out to me, no dice. Okay, you make it out to the charity and the charity only. Get a receipt with the name of the charity on it, and be cautious about charity raising money for police and fire departments, which we already discussed. A lot of people, again, they know that we have a connection with our seniors, the police and fire departments, and if you think that we're asking you for money, you may donate money to something that has nothing to do with us. Okay, so be skeptical. Just because you want to do the right thing, you have to look into it a little further. Again, I suggest that you give us a call, okay, and we can take a look at it. Don't give in to pressure, guilt trips, or suggested minimum contributions. If you say, you know, how much, and they say, well, $100 is a good minimum. No, you make a decision based on what you want to give, okay? And don't let them guilt or pressure you into making a large donation. Once you've determined the charity is legitimate, you've decided to donate, you donate what you want. Okay, I'm going to go buy the mystery shopper scam. And we'll go over the jury duty scam real quick. Jury duty scam, okay, you're going to receive a phone call that you missed jury duty and that there's now a warrant for your arrest. Okay? Now think about it. Any one of us who found out there was a warrant for our arrest would immediately go into panic mode because none of us wants to get arrested. Okay, just the idea of it is scary to most people. Okay, so what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to say, okay, who do I send the money to? Okay, that's not how it works. Again, they're preying on us on one of our emotions, which is fear. Okay, so missing jury duty is a crime and warrants do get issued, but it's not a common thing that happens. Okay, the court will make several notifications before a warrant is issued. If you receive a call claiming to be from the courthouse, ask for their name and location, let them know you'll call them back, check the number, look it up, make sure it's the right number. Okay, real quick on unsolicited phone calls. Usually they're going to come in, they're going to be high pressure, they'll ask for personal information, credit card data, they want you to send them money. They will not take no for an answer. Again, these people are very forceful, they're very intimidating, they'll bully you until you give in to what they're requesting. Okay, what do? Again, we hang up. These people are calling hundreds of people and get hung up on all the time. If they persist, contact us over the police department and we'll address it with them. Okay, we're going to go by the eBay and Craigslist scams. And I'm going to get into what happens when someone comes to your house. Okay, this is the last section of the scams that are targeting the seniors, and this is protecting yourself inside your house or your apartment or wherever you live. Okay, because people will come to your door. Okay, in police and law enforcement, especially in detectives, we saw a lot of this. People were victimized. They were targeting seniors that lived alone, and I'll show you some of the ways they do that and how you can protect yourself. A stranger knocks on your door and asks, do you want to buy something? They tell you they're from a local utility company and they need to check something. They may ask to use your phone. They may point out that your roof has some damage and they could fix it, or they're in the area and they have some extra hot top on the truck and they could fix a pothole in your driveway, something like that. And, you know, people want to take care of their houses, you know what I mean? They want to help people. They want their utilities to run. So again, they're going where we're vulnerable and taking advantage of it. Now, the knock that you receive on the door could be legitimate. Girl Scouts or some other organization in North Reading, I can say, since Chief Murphy took over, has completely revamped the solicitor registration process. You used to see people walking around banging on doors on a regular basis in this town. It doesn't happen anymore. What was happening is a lot of people were coming in with criminal records, which made them unacceptable to be going door to door. They were violating the bylaws that we had in place for time limitations. They were coming to people's house at 8:30, 8:45, frightening people. So what we did is we put together a program where they have to register, they have to be checked. It's a full background check as much as the law will allow before they can do it. And what it's done is it's really weeded out those smaller companies, the problem companies that we're having, and you don't see as much. So that's a good thing. Okay, instead of being legitimate though, they may be criminal. Maybe they're selling something that they're not supposed to be selling. Maybe they're selling something that is not what it really is. And maybe they're selling something legitimate, but they have another motive to get inside your house. Okay, people will present themselves as working for a utility company. Water, electrical, cable, gas. Okay, this actually happened in a local community in 2012. A woman reported that 2 men knocked on her door, claimed to be from Comcast. The men advised that they needed to repair a phone and cable lines inside the house. They were allowed access to the residence and were in the residence for between 30 and 60 minutes. The female later contacted Comcast and they advised they did not have any service calls on the residence. So that's scary. 2 people were in her house, stealing inside her house, and they weren't from Comcast. Who were they? It's a very scary thought that they actually got in and they were in there that long. Okay. Electric company scam. Person stating was from Mass Electric advised an elderly couple that they were taking poles down and putting the wires underground. They were also replacing the electrical meters. He asked the couple to come inside so he could explain what they were doing. Once the couple went back inside the house, they discovered there was items missing from the house. They asked the elderly couple to come outside. Okay, and what happens is they come out, they take you around to the side of the house, they start showing you the electrical box, they confuse you, they keep you in there just long enough while their partner scoots around the other side of the house, goes right up to the bedroom, takes all the valuables, takes the purses, he's out the door before the other guy walks them back inside. It's called a diversion burglary, and we see them with more and more frequency throughout the area. June 2012, Shrewsbury, 2 males enter the home of an elderly couple staying there from the water department, needed to check the pipes because of a water leak. 1 male distracted the elderly couple, the other was able to steal jewelry and cash. Again, same diversion burglary. If a utility comes to your house, ask for their IDs. Look for their vehicles. They should be clearly marked, indicating they're from the utility company. Okay? Call the police department before letting them inside. We have cars throughout town. If you call us, we have a car there right away. We'll check them out, make sure they're legitimate. It's not a bother to us. We actually would rather that you call us and let us come over and check it out so you feel safe. Okay, the can I use your phone scam. It may be legitimate, but don't take the risk by letting people inside your house. Have them remain outside, bring the phone to them, place a call for them, or call us, the police. We'll come by. We all have cell phones. We'll make sure they're able to make contact with whoever they need to talk to. Okay, don't let them in your house. Once a stranger does get inside your house, many things could occur. There could be a physical altercation. They could steal items. There could be a distraction so another accomplice could enter the house and steal. Or they'll check for valuables and then return later when you're not home and burglarize your house. Okay, again, they'll do this, they'll show up on the preface of saying you have roof damage, you have dangerous trees hanging by the wires, do you need to clean up around the yard, can I shovel your driveway, you have ice damage. So, again, they're going after things that we want to take care of as homeowners. Okay, A lot of times what they'll do with these home repair scams is they'll give you a very low price up front. I can remove those limbs away from your house, they're dangerous, only cost you $75 because I'm in the area. We see a lot of tree cutters coming down from Maine, criminals with long criminal records coming down here after storms, and they'll try that with senior residents. They can tell by the front of your house whether you're a senior because whether it's the design of the house or how meticulous it is maintained out front, they'll go right to you, say we're going to charge you $50 to take down those tree limbs, and then they come back up and say we ran into some problems, it's now going to be $1,200. Okay, we've had situations locally where these people have driven the seniors to the bank to go in and get the money, and they feel so intimidated by these thugs, basically thugs, that they give them the money. And a lot of times they won't even contact us because once it settles in that they've been victimized, they don't want people to know. Okay? They start the work and then extra work and high pressure. Very threatening in nature. Okay? And they're very good at this. This is the last video I want to show. Okay? It's a chimney sweeping scam. Okay? And you'll get those especially this time of year.
A scam that sweeps the country this time of year has already begun ripping off consumers here in the Susquehanna Valley. Chimney sweeping scams. It's our top story in the first 11. Tonight, police in Lancaster County have issued a warning about the chimney sweep scam. So far, only a handful of residents have fallen victim to it, but police say that's still too many. News 8's Pete Mundine reports.
In this quiet Columbia neighborhood, the problem started with a call from a salesman. They offer $25 to clean your chimney from a company called Perfect Touch Maintenance. But they never touch your chimney, just your checkbook.
Makes me upset.
Because it's a scam so elusive for Columbia police and so expensive for its victims, mostly senior citizens.
It made me feel worse if someone would, pick on an elderly person to want to do this to them. They're using it as an easy target for them. They're not going to say anything until they find out that, hey, this costs you $2,500 instead of $25.
Scammers alter checks, adding extra zeros. The cashier's stamp on the back is illegible.
It's hard to track down, hard to tell where certain ones are coming from. Like I said, this one, all the numbers that go to the business don't seem to go anywhere.
News 8 called Perfect Touch Maintenance. This is all we heard.
It makes it hard, especially when you have really no good leads to follow up on. Really, the only way we're going to catch them is when they're out doing the work.
Making it tough for police to stop this problem before chimney cleaning scammers clean out their victims.
They're surprised that people would do something like this to them. Unfortunately, I think today's society's changed and people just don't care about other people anymore.
I spoke with one of the scammer's victims, a 77-year-old, about her ordeal off camera. She's thankful her bank will reimburse her for the $2,500 she lost. Columbia police say they're on the lookout, but you can never be too sure. This scam happens all over the country. Police ask you to call them if you suspect you're being targeted by chimney clean scammers.
Yep, and that's a perfect example is they'll come in saying that they're going to give you a low price, you think it's a great deal, you think it's going to protect your family from carbon monoxide, and then next thing you know, they're asking you for much more than they originally stated. So some of the issues we face is a lot of these deals are done in cash. We never find out the identity of the actual criminals. They're transient. They move up and down the East Coast or around the country or throughout Massachusetts. Again, travelers. Very limited on eyewitnesses, and a lot of times they're from out of state. Okay, so again, I'm going to move through this towards the end and open up for questions, but I just want to say quickly, sometimes people that we invite into our house, especially as seniors, could also victimize us. So you have to make sure that you check out who you let inside your house. Again, I've seen cases where people were legitimately in the house and they were stealing valuables, drugs, medications, money from these people for a long time before it was actually found out. So do your homework. Don't allow people other than the people you give access to your house to come in. Like, don't let them bring friends, wives, husbands, whatever. They don't come in your house, just those people that you need there. Okay, contractors, appraisers. Okay, and this is the end. I just want to say many types of scams, but they all have one goal, and that's to steal your money. And again, as far as protecting yourself, don't give personal information over the phone or internet. Ask for written material and wait for that material before you make a decision. Check out businesses through the Better Business Bureau, the AG's office, National Fraud Information Center, or Google. Check your credit report. Again, annualcreditreport.com once a year. It's good to know what's on your credit. Check your statements from your bank and your credit card company each month. Okay, and if you see that activity, verify that no one had access to the card that made the transaction. Again, notify the police is the most important part of this, so we can take a look at it. And if you notice unauthorized activity on your credit report, okay, you can request a credit freeze, but I'm just going to say contact the police, and we'll take you step by step through what you need to do. And that's a good message to pass on. If you hear that a loved one has been victimized or identity has been compromised, let them know. Go to your local police department right away. Speak to someone over there who has the information that may protect you. Okay, and lastly, don't respond to those unsolicited emails. Don't give your personal information to people you don't know. Don't let strangers in your house. Don't let them trick you into going outside. And if you win a lottery, you'll never have to pay money up front for the money to be released. Don't wire money to anyone you don't know. And finally, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Okay? Does anyone have any questions?
How do you transfer money from, say, Massachusetts to someone in Michigan?
Okay, usually what they're doing is they'll use,
No, I mean to legitimately do this.
if you needed to,
Yes.
you can use a Western Union. I mean, if it's for legitimate purposes and you want to get money, that's probably one of the best ways to do it, because it's based on a system that's very easy. You could go to your local Walmart, okay, and if you need to send $300 to Michigan, you just get that person's name, and if it's a family member, they'll have you give them a password, so they're the only people who can pick up that money in Michigan. Does that answer your question?
Where do they pick up the money?
Well, there's so many locations at Western Unions. They're at drugstores, they're at Walmarts, they're at shopping centers. So all they would have to do is find their local Western Union office, and it should be fairly easy.
So you can't do it from bank to bank?
That can be done, but that's out of my realm of expertise. If you're looking to make a bank-to-bank transfer, you should probably speak with whoever your banking representative is for accurate information. Yes?
If you get on these lists, I keep getting calls, you know, you've won $100,000, big fancy cars, and all you need to do is send X, Y, Z.
Right.
And my response is, if I've won, it's free, and I hang up. But I keep getting them. How do I get off this list?
Well, you have the National Do Not Call list, and I don't know if you've already called that, but again, if that's something that you're interested in, if anyone wants to come down during a day shift, we could probably help you with that information. Or if you have access to the internet, you can just put in the National Do Not Call database. They'll walk you through how you can be taken off that, and so that'll stop a lot of those phone calls that come in from those type of people. Again, the opt-out, opting out of the free credit cards will stop a lot of that junk mail that comes to your house. I do, and I can get that for you after I'm done, and we can write it down. So those are two good ways. The National Do Not Call database, which I think is available now for cell phones as well. So, because we're starting to get those calls to our cell phones, unfortunately, before they were protected, and now they're coming after us there. So. Yes?
The other thing on that opt-out of all those credit card invitations, you have to give them your social security number.
That I'm not aware of.
No. Because I've dialed the number, it says on the back of the, you know, that if you want to opt out of this, call this number to opt out. And when I dial the number, it says you have to give them your social security.
Doesn't sound right.
No.
It doesn't sound right. I'm just saying, hopefully.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah, hopefully they're not. That's not a new phishing scheme that you just discovered for us. But what I would do is, my understanding is those are government agencies that handle that. They should be legitimate, and they're not going to ask for your social security number. But if you do have a problem with it, again, come by sometime during the day. We'll take a look at it, and we'll walk you through the process. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, is there a, online that you can opt out?
You should be able to access it online, but again, I would be very careful because there could be dummy sites up looking for people to give their information.
Well,
Okay?
I've tried 2 or 3 times to opt out, and they always ask my social security number, and I hang up.
Yeah, I'd be very leery, but again, if you want to come by sometime, we can take a look at it and we'll get a good answer on that. You had a question?
Yes. I think most of us in here are carrying our Medicare cards, which is our social security numbers. What can we do about that?
Do you need to have the card with you?
Well, if you get sick or they all ask, that's the first thing they say, do you have your Medicare card on you?
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, if you have to carry it because it's going to help you in a medical emergency, then I would say continue to do that.
Just write
But
down your number.
Right, yeah, but some people will carry their actual social security cards, you know, which are more identifiable to thieves if you should lose your wallet or something like that. So that's an issue.
because the Medicare, I mean, the number has the dash, you know, it looks just like it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just one blend of numbers, it's.
That's something I wasn't aware of, and whether or not they offer an alternate number for people who are concerned, I don't know the answer to that.
No.
Yeah, but again, just you do your best you can to protect those numbers because they can leave us vulnerable if they fall into the wrong hands. Yes?
What about the times they ask for the last 4 digits of your social security number? Is that safe?
Well, I'm not an expert on as far as social security numbers. I know that me personally as a consumer, a lot of times I've been asked that number with my bank and stuff like that. I feel comfortable allowing the last 4 digits because they're missing all the other information. Again, a lot of people will ask that as an identifying information because it is such a personal number, but they won't ask for the whole one for that purpose. Okay, if there's, oh, sorry, go ahead.
One more question. When you send in to the IRS, you send in a payment, they always ask you to write your social security number on the check. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, you know what? I try not to mess with the IRS or big government. And if they're legitimately asking you for information, I would suggest that you provide it.
Oh, I do provide it, but I keep saying,
Just
they keep telling you not to put your social security on anything, yet they ask you for it.
Right. Well, here's everybody else, and here's the IRS. So we do what they ask us to do. But I do have a couple of handouts. I'll just distribute before I leave. Now that we're done. One is an identity theft, so you have something that you can look at some of the more important things. And I also have a protection for seniors handout that I got from Mary and Ryan at the Middlesex District Attorney's Office. They were gracious enough to provide those for us. Again, they're a great resource. If you ever do find yourself on the wrong end of a scam, they're very helpful as well. Okay. Thank you all very much.
We also have some crisis resource books. We have some file lights. And I just want to end this with my new favorite quote. It says, "What's good for old ages is good for all ages." So take all this information that you heard today, bring it home and share it with somebody. It's very important. Thank you, Sergeant.